This week, the nation's auto manufacturers were allowed to reopen their factories, but didn't last long. In one case, Ford had to shut down its assembly plant in Chicago for several hours on Tuesday when two employees were found to have tested positive for the virus. And joining us live from Portland this morning is Fox 59 auto expert Nik Miles. Nick, the opening in Chicago for that reason was short-lived. Have you heard how things are maybe back on track now?
Yeah, the factory was only closed a few hours and things got underway. There were actually 3 stoppages at Ford factories yesterday, including a parts shortage, but they got the whole factories up and running again. Interesting thing is this is exactly how it was supposed to happen. Because of all this new testing, they had it in place. Because of all this screening, they caught 2 employees who tested or showed that they could possibly have the COVID-19, and so the factory got shut down and a deep cleaning of their area happened.
So when I guess it makes sense here when you think about how many people they have at the factories, just whole communities of folks who are working close together. So they are testing temperatures of everybody, they're screening everybody. What else is going on that you know of that they've put in place to kind of make it a safer atmosphere for those many employees?
Yeah, one of the things they have had is they've had physicians go through the factory and specialists go through the factory and really look at how people work together and try to prevent any possible spread of COVID if somebody should happen to have it. When you put a dashboard into a vehicle, it takes 2 people to do that. It's a big piece of equipment. They have to be very close together. Everybody has a different way of doing it. With some companies, they're wearing masks, they're wearing gowns. With Fiat Chrysler, for instance, what they're doing with their vehicles is hanging a piece of plastic between the 2 sides of the car on the inside, and that way the workers actually have a barrier of separation. So deep cleaning, protective equipment. When everybody arrives at any GM plant like Kokomo, they actually get a kit which includes goggles, glasses, and gloves and everything they might need, plus cleaning. And of course, they've had big instruction manuals given to them exactly how to operate under COVID.
Now, I know this means that you cannot produce a vehicle as quickly as before. How has this impacted the inventories?
It's interesting, talking to different car companies, you get a different story. For instance, Mercedes-Benz opened their US factories last week. They're actually almost at full capacity now. But I talked to Ford, GM, and Fiat Chrysler yesterday, and they say, let's just take it steady. We're not going to rush it. We want to make sure everything works and everyone stays safe. And as we get those procedures working as they're supposed to work, then we'll ramp up production. Starting at 50%, should be at full production in the next couple of weeks.
Let's not forget that a lot of the facilities are now working to not produce cars, but to produce equipment to help fight the pandemic. How long do you think those dual goals will be kind of working side by side, and when can they streamline back to what they were intended to produce?
So the protective equipment, the PPE stuff, that is actually probably going to be a permanent thing for the companies if they're making masks, gowns, those type of things, because they need to use those in their facilities. They need to use those for their workers. And so they're not going to draw on the system. And any excess they have, they're actually going to donate those to first responders. When it comes to ventilators and the more complicated pieces of equipment, we expect that they will fulfill their agreed government contracts. Once those are done, they'll reevaluate. If we still need ventilators, I'm sure they'll still support us by making ventilators, but at this time it's still all those things are still being produced, and there's no end in sight. When they've got enough, they will probably stop.
Yeah, thinking about that process at the GM facility with the ventilators in Kokomo. Nick, great to talk to you there in Portland, and we'll catch up with you next time. See you later, buddy.